Oh, good morning, everybody. I want my little camera to show my new little sign back there. You can't read it. How is every? Did you hear that? That was my dog. That was my dog. That was not me. I know Daz is going to try to put that one on me. Good morning, Denise. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Michael at Green Acre. How is everybody doing this morning? I am just like running, trying to get caught up to get here for the live today. We've had such a morning here. You will not believe it. Let me tell you. Let me move my chair a little bit. Oh, we started off with 4 people. Now we're down to 3. What happened? Who did I lose? Oh, well, they'll be back. Maybe. Gosh darn it. I had a little sign. Where did it go? I put a little sign up here for you guys and everything, and you can't really read it from where I'm sitting. Can anybody see what that says? Yeah, blame the dog, Daz, right? It sounded terrifying. That dog, she retches at the most inconvenient times. It's scary. But my little sign back there says salutations are greetings. It's just my fancy way of saying hello. And Charlotte from Charlotte's Web used to say salutations all the time. And when I first started doing YouTube, I was trying to come up with a greeting that would just kind of be unique to me. And I thought, salutations. I love Charlotte's Web. So I thought, I'll just do salutations. And people are like, what is that? Oh, good day, Daz. Good day, Michael. Everybody. Did everybody have a lovely week? Talks amongst yourselves. Tell me what a beautiful week you had. We had a very busy week here at the farm. Oh my goodness. She did it again. It's always when I move though, so it is suspicious, isn't it? Suspicious much. Hey, Boots and Bounties here. Hey, guys. Casey and Steven, good morning. And Free Handly Maid, Nisi is here. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I was just telling everybody about my little sign that I made for you guys this morning and how you can't even read it from where you're sitting. And now where I'm sitting, all you see is my husband's, pack of gum that he's overtaken over there on the shelf behind me. I thought it'd be so cute to have. I've got flowers back there. I've got canned green beans and you can't even see them because my big fat butt's right in the way. Good morning, Donna. So rush this morning. I had my curlers out. I had everything ready to do my vintage makeup and do my hair all in my curlers. I don't know if this is going to last very long or not, but oh my goodness, I've had such a morning. Let me tell you, this week, hubby and I were notified. Well, actually, I was notified almost 2 weeks ago by my friend and neighbor, Karen, that our other neighbor, Tammy, had more guinea fowl that were in need of a home. And I discussed it with Papa Jim, and he says, I just don't know where we'd put them. We just don't have room right now. And I agreed. So I passed. And then throughout the week, we've been listening to our 2 little guinea fowl out there. They're both males. And no, Daz, I'm not going to say how they sound, but they do say the word cheat, cheat, cheat. That's what they say. And so hubby says, if we just had a couple of girls, it would be nice. So I contacted my neighbor Tammy and I said, can we get a couple of females? Now she knows me. I'm not saying she pulled a fast one on me. I don't know. Look, I'm the queen today. I'm not saying she pulled a fast one on me. But she said, I really just don't want to separate them. Because if I sell you the girls, because there were 3 girls and 4 boys. She says, if I sell you the girls, then I'm not going to be able to sell the boys. And, I just kind of want to keep them together. And I was like, okay, well, I'll keep my eye out if anybody's looking for any guinea fowl. And then this weekend, hubby and I were outside. We were working on the chicken run. We did a whole new chicken run. All of the chickens and the turkeys and the pig, they've had full run of the orchard this whole time. But we're having daytime raccoon attacks. The girls are going way out into the orchard and they're laying their eggs. We're investing all of this money in their feed in return for eggs. And they're going out, they're flying up into the highest branches of the trees and laying their eggs, and they're just dive bombing anything that's underneath. Good morning, Tina Ladybug. I don't mind the sounds, Michael. I actually enjoy listening to them. But so hubby says, well, why don't we go see if those 7 are still available? Tammy knew. She knew I was going to be a sucker and get them. Good morning, Brenda. So I called her up and I said, are those 7 guineas still available? And she said, yes. So we dropped everything. We ran over, got the 7 guinea. And what we did is in the little run that we built a few weeks ago, we had 5 turkeys, our little bantam rooster porter, and a little Polish cochin. I don't know what she's a little mix, just this tiny little chicken. We call her Dolly because she's very breasty. So evicted everybody. Everybody one by one got pulled out of the pen, had their flight wings clipped, and out into the new chicken yard that we were building they went. We went and got the 7 guineas, brought them home, and put them in that pen, and they've been there for a few days now. So this morning I went out to feed everybody and make sure everybody had fresh water. And I opened the pen, and I think the new guineas have been plotting this for a few days now. This was a full-on prison break. I'm pretty sure the largest of the 7 guineas had a prison shank. They bum rushed me, just totally bum rushed me when I opened the door with 3 gallons of water. And I kind of fell backwards into the gate, and the gate opens out. And by the time I collected myself, there were 3 escapees, and their wings aren't clipped. But we have it's probably 2,000 square foot chicken yard. Man, as soon as I tried to get them up and over, they went. So I had 3 escapees out into the orchard today. So I got 1 coerced back in, got her into the coop. She was the one with the prison shank. She's the big prison bitch. Got her into the coop and was able to get a net over her and got her back into the pen as she's already plotting for their next prison riot. The other 2 that were flown over and into the orchard. Now I'm in my nightgown. I'm not even dressed. I'm running around in the orchard in my nightgown with a net like a banshee. And you can't catch those things. They're too fast. But I did get one. They were running back and forth on the fence line because they want to get back to their people. And I did get one to fly up and over. So she's in the prison yard. And then I've got the other one still running the fence, and Jim's going to have to help me get her back in as soon as he gets home. But I was out there far too long, so I didn't have time to get ready this morning. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with Denise this morning, and I said, I'm getting ready. And she goes, oh, I'll let you go. I said, I'll talk. Just know if you hear the curling iron or me putting makeup on or brushing my teeth or something, it's because I'm trying to get ready and talk to you at the same time. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it was a full-on prison riot. I don't know what she fashioned the prison shank out of, but I mean, I got scratched up. They came for my eyeballs, I'm telling you. Those guineas, they're a breed not to be messed with. Boots and Bounty, what are those little icons of? What are those little, they almost look like pop tabs on a pop can. I don't know what those are. Well, thank you. Even though I didn't get to roll it, I appreciate that. I was going to roll it and have it all done in a 1950s comb out with a flip and everything, but that didn't happen this morning. Let me see who I've missed here. Hedgehog is here. Good morning. So yeah, we've got lots of, make sure you hit the thumbs up. I never tell you guys to hit the thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Just a little friendly reminder. So anyways, I wanted to show you the second day that we had all these new guineas. And just so that you know, I did put a little short out to explain how they sound. Daz is going to try to trick me into actually making the sounds here. But the male guineas, when they call their call, they sound like they're saying cheat, 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 cheat. The females, when they say their call, when they alert to something, they say buckwheat, buckwheat, buckwheat. So while we were finishing up working out there this weekend, every once in a while we'd hear a buckwheat, and Jim and I would just look at each other and go, oh, how cute. We've got girls. Got girls. Oh, they're chains. Okay. Yeah, I am now a guinea attack victim. Yes, I am. I've got scratches. You probably can't see them. Because who knows how to put their... I feel like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. I did get a few scratches from where they were defensive wounds. Because the one had a prison shank. I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, I'm so glad everybody's here. Hit the thumbs up. Oh, the females, they say, yeah, how do they sound, Daz? The females, they say buckwheat, buckwheat, buckwheat. And we were just having such a wonderful time putting all the new fencing up. And I've got to tell you, I know I told you guys before how great Papa Jim is. And he has his own channel now. Go over and join his channel. It is Country Papa Jim. So you got Country Mama and you got Country Papa Jim. There's a great video on there of him scratching his ass. You'll have to go see it. And by ass, I mean our donkey. So just so I don't get in trouble with any censorship or anything. Oh, Michael, you're going to have to go back to the office. That doesn't sound good. I do love the Guineas for the bug control, but we are going to try to contain everything to, I mean, we worked our butts off out there 2 days in a row. It's Cha-Cha Love. Hello, Cha-Cha Love. Good morning. I looked for flowers for my hair this morning. I couldn't find any of my headbands that had flowers. Everything is just a mess. I've been so busy here this week. Oh my goodness, you don't even know. So anyways, Monday, I was out making sure everybody had water and feed, and I took a look in the prison yard there. And there was an egg inside with the new guineas. I thought, how did the chicken get in there and lay an egg? And it dawned on me, oh my gosh, these females are already laying. So let me show you. This is just a regular chicken egg from my girls, okay? One of my girls that lay brown eggs. This, I have to make sure I don't drop it. This is a guinea egg. So a little smaller in size, but look at how much more pointed it is. I don't know if you can tell on the video there, but it's much more pronounced with the point on the end here. So I wrote a G on it so I would know that it's a guinea egg. Now I think it's just going to be that it's a gangster egg. This is my gangsta guineas out there, the hole in the prison yard. Thank you, Cha-Cha Love. Thank you for the love. Yeah, go check out Papa Jim. I'm trying to encourage him to post more videos and just give him something to do. How are you guys enjoying your coffee this morning? How do you take your coffee? Put in the comments. I want to know how you take your coffee. I have to have a flavored creamer. I used to be a cream and sugar girl, but then I've never enjoyed drinking my coffee black. I've never enjoyed it with just sugar. I've never enjoyed it with just creamer. But when those flavored creamers hit the market, oh my gosh, I was hooked. So now I'm having, my favorite one is the Cold Stone Creamery. I love the Cold Stone Creamery. If I can't get the Cold Stone Creamery, I get the Italian sweet cream, which I think is basically the same thing. And then during the winter time, I love to get, of course, obviously pumpkin spice. But we really love the peppermint candy one. That's so good. Peppermint. Iced coffee. I like iced coffee too. Oh my gosh. Biddy Boo. Good morning, by the way, Biddy Boo. We don't have a Starbucks near us. And when we lived in Southern California, we had a Starbucks on every corner. And I will admit, we were addicted to Starbucks. We would stop at Starbucks every morning to get a coffee on the way into work and sometimes on the way home. And it's funny because I like my iced coffee a certain way. And when I walk up to the counter, I tell the barista, just get your pen. Just don't even try to remember this. Just get your pen. And so this is what I tell them. It's my own drink. I kind of invented it when I was kind of doing a low carb thing. And so I named it. I told them I was going to turn it in to Starbucks. And they just looked at me like I was crazy, but whatever. Good morning, Finding Happiness. Yes, everything pumpkin spice. So here is my specialty drink. It is cinnamon sprinkles on the bottom, 2 Splenda on the bottom, 6 pumps of sugar-free cinnamon dolce. You fill the entire cup with Breve to the top black line, add ice, and float 3 shots affogato on top. And by the time they write it all out, it looks like this science experiment equation has been written on the side of the cup. But what's really neat is you have all of those little flavors with the syrups at the bottom, and then you put the cream on top. And so the heavy stuff stays on the bottom, but some of the cinnamon and everything comes floating up the sides. Put the ice in it. Then when you float the affogato, which is 3 shots of espresso on top, it all floats down into the cream. So don't get it with Don't get it with milk. You get it with the heavy cream, and it's the breve, and then it all just floats out. It's so beautiful. And when you take your first sip of it, it's like a really beautiful, rich, creamy, I don't even know how to, it's a creamy caramel drink. It's so good. Better than a caramel macchiato. So good. Good morning, Outdoors with Big Matt. Hey, along the river homestead. Good morning, Chrissy. Green Egg, I drink Black Rifle coffee. Yes, sir. Right here. Black Rifle. The silencer. Self-ground and French press. This is self-ground. But I did put it through just our little drip system here with Starbucks white chocolate mocha creamer and a dash of homemade maple syrup. That sounds good. Biddy boo, I lost you with the big words. You know what? Those are big fancy words when you live, Southern California stuff. I don't live there anymore. I don't even know if I would even know how to order if I go in again. They would probably just look at me like I was crazy. Hedgehog likes her coffee black with just a little bit of milk. I used to drink it black, but as I got older, I need to know. Yeah, Daz, are you able to find the link for Papa Jim? It's Country Papa Jim, I believe. He's only got like 4 subscribers. I would love to just, everybody love rate him and just go over and have him come home tonight and say, oh my gosh, I've got 15 subscribers. Where did that come from? Donna likes flavored cream of caramel and sugar. Everything pumpkin. Mocha iced coffee. Okay, so I'm going to go back down to the new comments. So I was starting to tell you just how wonderful Papa Jim is, because I told him, I said, I'm finding broken eggs all over out in the orchard. The girls, we've got to rein in the girls. We've got 30 new layers and not one egg in the coop or in the nesting box or anywhere where it's salvageable. So I said, I think what we need to do is we need to spend the weekend just kind of reining them in a little bit. Let's extend from the side of the house all the way down to the side of the coop. And I've got some fencing out in the corn crib. I said, we'll just put some fencing up, see what we can come up with. We'll clip their wings and we'll just see if we can kind of contain them a little bit. And he started looking at some of the fencing, and it is all viable fencing. It is. There's no reason we couldn't have used it. He says, you know what? I want to go get some 10-foot by 6-foot chain link panels, and let's just do it right the first time. Let's not monkey around and piecemeal it. Louis showed up to the conversation. Hello, Louis. Let's do it right. So we halted what we were doing, and we drove up to the big box store, and he bought, I don't know, $700 worth of panels, and brought them back and put them all together. And they've got a beautiful yard. We got the lawnmower back there. We weren't mowing back there because the chickens used the weeds to hide from predators and stuff. But we mowed it all up and put up this new beautiful chicken run. The chickens have their own patio table with an umbrella for shade. And they're really enjoying it. So the only thing we really need to do is for the pig, we need to get him a designated wallow. But every day I do turn the hose on a little bit. It creates a little bit of mud. He sleeps out there. The chickens stand on him. They've all had their wings clipped. See, that dog did that again. But I was moving. It's not me, I promise. I think she has allergies. So the chickens, they've all had their wings clipped. And so they can try to get over the 6-foot fence, but they can't quite make it. But I've been catching them hopping on top of the pig and then trying to get, that extra foot and then trying to get over, and they're still not making it. It's funny. Nisi is sewing. That's wonderful. It should be there somewhere. I think it's Country PAPA Daz. He's there somewhere. If we can't find it today, it's okay. We'll be good. We'll be good. So that's why I wasn't able to get all dolled up this morning. And so this is what you get today. I was really wanting to do, my heavier eyeliner and all that good stuff and have my hair in rollers and do my brush out. But, oh well. So that's what we've been doing in the chicken yard is we've just been getting everything ready. I'm choking on my coffee. Oh, not only did we do all of that fencing, which I think it makes the chicken yard about 2,000 square foot, everything that we've gotten closed for them now. So they're not complaining. They've got everything they need. They've got protection if they need it, and they can go into the coop. And I'm starting to see eggs being laid in the coop, which is wonderful. So they're starting to get the hint. I did a little video short where I showed that I cleaned out all of the nesting boxes and dressed them up with lemon balm and marigolds. And I went the next day and those little brats had kicked out all the marigolds. All the marigolds were on the floor. I put fake eggs in there to encourage them. And the old Betties went in there. My old bitty Betties, they went in there and they kicked all the fake eggs out. All the fake eggs were laying on the ground. Like, we don't want this in here. We know what this is. It's okay, Daz. Don't worry about it. You know what? I don't know how he has it set up. He just opened it. Maybe he's done something that people can't see it. We'll see if we can find it. And then I will throw it in the comments later down below this live. I'll put it there. So don't worry about that. But I know that you all want to see him scratch his ass. So I know you want to go there. And I think he just opened up a really telekinetic thing that he did at work. It's really cool. You'll have to see that. So I'll have to find that and I'll put that in there for you. So, but I had gone to another big box store and they had all of their mulch on sale. So I got all of the mulch that they had on sale, and I had some poor little kid, just a teenager. He had to put it all into the truck for me. Nobody showed up to work. I don't know what we're going to do, people, with all of these people that are just refusing to show up to work because they're going to make more money on unemployment. And the people that really do want to work, they're really catching the short end of that stick, because this poor kid, who's still young enough to have good ethics, good work ethics, his mama and daddy raised him right. He came out there and that poor kid was having to huff all of those bags, which wouldn't be bad. It's only mulch, but it had rained, so it was wet mulch. So he had to huff those all into my back of my truck, and he was sweating and his back was hurting. And I said, why aren't they sending you any help? Because nobody showed up to work today. Nobody's showing up to work. So as soon as he loaded all of that up, I got on my phone and wasn't being a Karen, as the term is, even though I have a very good friend named Karen. I called up and I spoke to customer service and I said, I want you to tell the manager right now that kid did an excellent job and he needs some recognition and some acknowledgement, because he came out, he did the job, he didn't complain. It was hot and sweaty and nobody helped him. And half your people didn't even show up because they're too selfish and they're just going to stay home and try to get fired so they can get the unemployment check and just sit home and make more money than that poor kid's going to make busting his hump loading up wet mulch. If you see somebody that has the ethics and the good morals to still show up to their job when everybody else is calling in sick and people are not showing up, treat them nice, treat them kind, give them a little extra, even if it's just a really good compliment and a call to their manager to tell them how much you appreciate them. My gosh. They're making more money staying home. There are people that I know with menial jobs, and I don't mean this I don't want it to sound condescending, but they make an average income and Papa Jim makes a bit more, and they're making more money than us now, sitting home playing video games all day, while Papa Jim has not missed one day of work through this entire thing. And it gets very aggravating when he comes home with cuts and burns and blood and blisters, and he's not even bringing in as much as people sitting home on the couch playing video games. Don't get me started. Oh my goodness. Okay, Lisa, don't worry. So if you see somebody who has shown up for their job, even just an extra thank you. I'm not saying you have to give them money. If you're going out to eat, tip your server well. But if you just see somebody who has held their head high and kept their ethics intact, Give them a little pat on the back and let them know they're appreciated. Goodness, I didn't want to go off on that little rant, but there we were. So I wanted to show you, I don't think I got to show this to you last week. And then somebody chime in. I have chocolate mint and I have spearmint out in my garden, and I've just gotten so busy it's gone to flower. Can I still pull the leaves and dehydrate the leaves to make tea? Somebody let me know. I'll trust your instincts here as opposed to going on YouTube. But the chocolate mint, it smells so good. And I wanted to just add a little bit of chocolate mint to maybe some Earl Grey or something, just to kind of counterbalance and just have a nice little mint tea. I want to show you what I got. I don't know if I showed it to you already. But look at this little tea diffuser I got. Look at that. It's a little, I got this at the thrift store. I know that Denise really loves it when I show things that I got at the thrift store. But look at this little tea diffuser. It is a little teapot that you put your tea leaves in. And then after you diffuse your tea with it and everything and you take it out, it has a little saucer. And so you just have your little teapot with your little saucer. Isn't that adorable? I love it. So cute. Mint tea is the best. Oh, yes. And I want to get some going. I just don't know, since it flowered, if I can still use the leaves. I don't know. So, oh, goodness. They need to be thrown in the forest and told now survive and not near anyone. I've got to tell you, I don't know if I went on this rant last week or not. I don't know. It's still in my craw. I was watching a docuseries about the poor children growing up in America and just how hard these past 18 months have been on them. And I thought, well, that'll catch my attention. And I sat and I watched it. I grew up very poor. And I'll be darned if every single kid didn't have a cell phone. The girls' nails were done. They had new jeans. They all sat on their butts while their single mothers did all the work. And I thought, those kids don't even know what it means to be poor. They don't know what it means to be poor. What kind of a documentary is that? Those kids need to really know what it means to be poor. They have no clue. Yeah, not as safe at work because you don't have help. Denise wants to know if her mint is still good since it flowered as well. Guys, if you have any experience with growing your own mint and the mint has gone to flower, can we still use the leaves to dry them out and use for our tea? Let us know. They will not know how to survive when needed, but that is what the government wants. Exactly. Then they want to raid those of us that do. That's a whole nother story. Good morning, Gail. Okay, so Denise, along the river, Chrissy over at Along the River says, yes, harvest that mint. So that's something I'll be doing this week. Let's see, somebody up here, Greenacre. Michael the Greenacre says his peppermint has gone to seed as well. I haven't tasted it since going to seed. Not sure if it will get bitter like other herbs. See, that's kind of what I was worried about. Hey, is Tom in here from On the Plant? Did he show up? Hello, Roland with Raquel. I just met Roland with Raquel. We're kind of new friends here on YouTube because I saw her on a live last night and I said, hey, friend. And I think she said, hey, friend. And here we are. Okay. So I'm not gonna have any more rants about some of the things that I'm seeing when I go out. My goodness. So, but I do want to tell you that I listened in on Daz's live last week when I was painting the deck, DECK. Hello, Tom. I'm almost done with that project. I've been painting that deck for what seems like forever. Pressure wash a section, wait a couple weeks, paint the deck, do another section. And I was going to finish it this last week. That's it. By golly, I was going to be done. And I ran out of paint. I have 2 boards left. This is right in the middle of the deck too. I thought for sure I would have enough. And right in the middle of the deck, there's about 2 sections, 8 foot long. And so 1 foot wide because they're 2x6s and it still isn't painted. I need to get more paint. So, but I was listening to Daz while Daz was having his live. And Daz likes to make fun at my expense, and I wholeheartedly take it. It is all in good fun. But he messes with me sometimes in this chat. Paint them another color. I would do something like that. And so he likes to ask me what certain animals make certain noises, or what's the sound on that again? And sometimes I don't realize it's him, and I'll go off on some little thing and I'll start making noises about what this animal sounds like that, or what this animal sounds like this. And he gets me almost every single time. He got me last week on something completely different. So I'm listening to his live, and he's telling us about these candies. And the candies there are called fantails, but Daz was calling them lollies. And Daz has this really beautiful, unique Australian accent. And when he says lollies, it just makes me giggle. Sorry, Daz, it makes me giggle when you say lollies. So I was trying to get him to say, what else do you call the fantails? What do you call fantails? Because I wanted him to say lolly and lollies. And I typed it in between painting a board and autocorrect. How many of you, show of hands, how many of you have had really embarrassing situations where autocorrect assumes what you're saying and they change it and then you don't catch it right away? Oh my goodness. Poor Daz. I'm so sorry. I apologized. So what I wrote was, hey Daz, how do you say fantails? Autocorrect kicked in. And there in his live, right there in the chat, says, hey Daz, how do you say fantasies? Fantasies. I was asking him, hey Daz, how do you say fantasies? And he just looked at it, and you could see the look on his face, and he's like, oh dear. He says, I don't know what to say about that. And I was like, oh my God. And so right away I was like, fantails, Daz. I promise you I wrote fantails. And he's just sitting there going, I don't know what to say about that. And I thought, and probably in the other room, there's Mrs. Daz. And Mrs. Daz is probably saying, who's this country mama wanting to know about fantasies and how you say fantasies? You're not going to be allowed to talk to country mama anymore. And I was so despondent. Oh my God. You were there for that, Green Acre? Yeah, that was a pretty bad typo. Autocorrect, whatever. So Dad says I was stuck as what to say without losing my channel. Hello, Mountain Grandma. So I'm typing. I wrote in the chat like 3-4 times, Daz, I'm sorry. That's not what I said. I promise I said fantails. And Daz, I never saw you reply. I thought, oh, he's mad at me. I've done it now. And I was fretting, let me tell you. So then I wrote Daz privately. It's like, I am so sorry. I didn't mean for it to say that. But it will lead me to one of my stories today, because I don't think I shared this story yet. We'll see if I did. I don't know. I don't know if I shared it. But fantasies are private, Alicia. But he'll share the fantails, I hope. And hopefully next time he'll say lollies just in his chat, just for me. Hello, Money Pit Homestead. Now, see, look. See, Hedgehog, you and I, right there. I think you meant to type, hello, Mountain Grandma, but you called Grandma Minx. Ooh, sassy. We got Minx Grandma instead of Mountain Grandma going on now. So, YouTube chat via cell phone is such a pain. Yes, I was using my cell phone. Exactly. And it changed it. So, I'm going to say probably in 2012, I had a coworker who was having a big high school reunion. And this is not the story, but it leads to my story. And she was sharing on Facebook about just how nervous she was about this big reunion she was going to have with all these people. You know, class reunions are difficult because you've put weight on, you've had kids, the men have gone bald, everybody's worried about how they're going to be viewed and judged and all this stuff. And she said, I'm just so nervous about meeting all these people again after 10 years. And then the next thing that came through on Facebook, hello, Davis Family Life. She said, well, I know once I get a couple of shits in my stomach, I'll be okay. And all of us are like, what? And then across the screen says, shots, Shots, all up, all in upper caps with big exclamation points. Shots. I meant shots. We're rolling. We're laughing so much because she had that typo. She was mortified, and at work, she was mortified at work too because it had said that. Hello, Coffee Angel Crafts. You know, I do want to say, and I've said it earlier when I first came on, but I want to say it again. If I miss something you say in the chats, please don't take it personal. Don't think I'm ignoring you. Don't take offense to it. It is very difficult to stay caught up with the chats and still have a conversation. I miss a lot. So I know some people have said in the past, I feel like I'm talking to myself, and it's not that I'm ignoring you. Don't think that I'm picking favorites, and please don't think that I'm ignoring you. Wait a second here. There we go. And shots help too, don't they, Chrissy? Oh my goodness, all in fun. So when she did that, it reminded me of this story. So here's my story, and this is a story I have written on my blog. And I was working at a very large high school. It was actually the high school that I attended. It's the same high school that my third son graduated from, and now my second son and his wife work there, and my grandson goes to that school. So we've got quite a history with this rather large school in Southern California. And shots. Anyways, I was working in the special education department, and I was a paraprofessional. First, I worked one-on-one with students with cerebral palsy, and got them to their classes and helped them with getting their assignments in order and making sure their work got turned in and taking care of their needs and everything. And I was doing really well with it. Had a wonderful young lady that I was working with that I just absolutely loved, and she moved away. And then I worked with a young gentleman who was a quadriplegic, and he graduated. So I found myself all of a sudden without any one-on-one students to care for. So I accepted a position working in a classroom as the classroom aide, and really loved the teacher that I worked with. He had a great sense of humor. We would ping things back and forth off of each other all the time. Really a great atmosphere to work in. And I was always looking for new ways to really engage the students, get them involved, get them really interested in completing their homework, turning it in, all this other stuff. So this teacher had this like 3 foot by 3 foot old corkboard. It was the ugliest thing. It was uglier than sin. And he was going to throw it away. He says, put that by the door. I'm going to throw that away. And I'm like, no, my precious. It is a craft project. I can do something with this. I can. So I said, don't throw that away. I'm going to do something with that. So I held it off to the side, and then I got a whole bunch. It all came together so quickly too. It was so wonderful. I got some red crepe paper, and I Mod Podged it. I decoupaged it all on the front of this big, beautiful square corkboard. And to that, I affixed my Monopoly game from home, because the kids really weren't playing with Monopoly. They'd lost a few pieces, and it was just sitting in the closet. And I thought, I'm going to put this to good use. So I affixed the Monopoly game right in the center. I glued all of the little cards around the perimeter, and I just made it lots and lots of fun. And the premise of this being up on the wall was, at the end of every week on Friday, the students would come to my desk and they would let me know, Mrs. T, can you check to make sure I turned in all my assignments? And if they did, they would get to roll the dice for the Monopoly game, and then they could move their piece around. And if they landed, let's say that they landed on Mediterranean Avenue, which I think was like worth $60 or something, they would get 60 points in their bank. And then when they got enough money, they could buy certain things like homework passes, ice cream at the ASB Snack Shack. They could get all these fun things. Now, we also had Chance, and we had Community Chest. And those would be good for ice creams or homework passes. But when they would roll and they would go around the board, and I would keep track of where they would land every week, I would write them out a check for the amount that they had won that week. And they would be responsible for hanging onto their checks in their folders. Then they could turn their checks in for things. So when I did the board, I affixed a check right in the middle. And I had handmade these checks. I found something online to print out a blank one, and I filled it in and signed it. And so I made the checks out to John Q. Public. And I fixed it right there on the center of the board, and we hung it right in the middle of the room. And the kids are loving this game, and it's starting to make the rounds amongst all of the other special education teachers. Are like, we want to see this game that you made for the kids to keep them motivated. Oh, come on, look at it. Everybody loved it. They thought that is such a unique idea, and it's really working, and that's great. We're really, really proud of you. Way to go. And I'm like, pat myself on the back. I did something really special. And all the kids love me. And so then the principal came up, and the principal says, I want to see this game that everybody's talking about. So I showed him. I'm like Vanna White and this and that. And I'm showing you how it works. And I had one of the students get their folder and show them the checks. Everything was wonderful. He goes, that's really good, Alicia. Way to go. Pat on the back. Thank you. Then the school district's lead psychologist happened to be at the school that day for an IEP meeting, which those are the meetings for the special ed students to make sure that they have everything in order for their education. And he comes into the classroom and he says, I want to see this game everybody's talking about. Everybody's talking about it in the whole district. And I'm like, wow. I mean, that's like having a viral video on YouTube, And I'm just standing tall. I said, let me show you the game I created. And I take him over. And before I can even get my first Vanna thing does, he goes, you spelled public wrong. I'm like, excuse me? He goes, yeah, that might be a little bit of a Freudian slip there. But you spelled public wrong. And I was very confused. And I looked at the check. And I swear every time I looked at it before, it said John Q. Public. But not that day. That day, it struck in my head. It said John Q. Pubic. Pubic! Thank God my students didn't catch it, or a parent or another teacher. But it's mortifying to know that the head psychologist for the entire district caught it. John Q. Pubic. Oh my God. So when I made that, I know I typed in fantails and it turned it to fantasies. I was like, oh, I need to tell everybody the story about what I did. And, if you think about it, we had 5 periods a day, 30 kids per class. I had 150 kids come through every day for weeks and nobody caught it. So I had to go in there with my little pen and put an L. God, I'll never live that one down, but I do have that story on my blog. I was just mortified. Oh my gosh. And I assure you, every time I type public now, I check it. I check public and shots. It's a lot of kids. It was a very large school. That's 150 kids just in that class throughout the day, going in and out. And we had several classrooms. It was a very large high school, and we did have a pretty good sized population of students that just needed that extra assistance. So, oh my gosh, that was my flub for the day. I've got my little sign back there. I guarantee you I checked everything before I put it up behind me. Not that you can see it now anyways. So I'm usually pretty good at typing things that shouldn't be there, autocorrect things that shouldn't be there. But Daz, biggest apologies. That really was an innocent flub. I didn't mean to do that. So, oh, Chrissy, are you leaving? Did I miss that? Bye, Chrissy. I'm going to be working on the barn quilt more. I have about the bottom half done of the barn quilt, and Chrissy is the one who submitted the winning barn quilt pattern, and it has a gray color in there, and it's a little bit too close to the gray color of the really old wood of the barn, of the corn crib. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to paint those black and see if it'll pop a little bit more. And so I'll be working on that. So let's see, what else did we do? I had my granddaughter over yesterday, and I share a granddaughter with somebody who's in chat right now. And I'm so thankful that so many of you have been so kind to her. Her name is Donna Knight. Donna Knight is the other grandma that we share, our little granddaughter that was here helping me when we planted the zinnias, and she came over yesterday. And she spent about 8 hours here, and boy, I put her to work, but we had a great time. But one of the things we did, and I don't know, turn this. She is cute. She is a little cutie patootie. She keeps me on my toes. How come I can't? Oh, I'm sitting here touching the screen. I'm expecting things to work. I have to use the mouse. Oh, I wanted to get rid of that so I can show you right here. See those boxes? We tackled these boxes yesterday. So I wanted to tell you that I'm so thankful to my friend and neighbor, Karen. She lives on the farm. I say down the street, but she's really about 8 miles away, but that's how far spread we are. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. There are only 3 neighbors in between Karen and I, and we're about 8 miles apart. So she wrote me the other day. She's usually really good. If she goes into the Amish markets, she'll say, do you need anything? I'm already here. And I'll say, oh, yes, pick this up for me. And she's all the time, do you need beets? Do you want some beets? And she gave me, I don't know, tons of beets last year. It looked like a murder scene in here in the kitchen because there were just beets everywhere. And you know how messy they are. If you've ever canned beets, you know how messy they are. So she writes me on Sunday, and she says, hey, I'm down here in Missouri, and I'm buying peaches. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. And she says, do you want a bushel or a peck or a hug around the neck? And you guys all know that little song, a bushel and a peck and a hug around the neck. And I said, yes, please, in that order. And I was just like, ha, ha, ha. And she's like, LOL. And then she says, or do you want a lug? And I thought, oh, is she rhyming with hug? I don't know where she's going with this. And I wrote back, I said, I don't know. Do I? I guess so. I don't know. I really thought she was making a rhyming joke about hug. Do you want a hug around the neck or do you want a lug? I don't know. So I said, sure. So I went to the bank. I got some money to go over to her farm on Monday so I could pay her for the peaches. And I said, I didn't know how much money to get. And I researched it before I went over because I thought she was making funny about the word hug. So a lug is a measurement of weight of fruit in between a bushel and a peck. So in between a bushel and a peck, there is a lug. You learn something new every day. So I believe, if I have my numbers right, and correct me if I'm wrong, a peck, if you were going to get a peck of apples or a peck of peaches, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck is between 10 and 12 pounds of produce. So that's where we get Peter Piper. A bushel is about 50 pounds. So that's quite a bit. So a bushel is about 50 pounds. And a lug is between 19 and 22 pounds. So each box back here, 1, 2, each box is 19 to 22 pounds of peaches. So I have no less than 44 pounds of peaches behind me to process. And so my granddaughter was here yesterday and we were processing peaches. And so I would blanch them, skin them. She would cut the circle and pop them and take out the pit. And then she was slicing them and putting them into some lemon water. Then I would go around the other side and I would strain them and I would put them in their bags to get them ready for the freezer. And we just went and we went and we went. In addition to everything else we had done that day. I still have about 2 batches to do in that top box. We worked all day yesterday on those peaches. There's peaches in my freezer. There's peaches in my son's freezer. I will not need peaches for a while, and we're going to have lots and lots of peach cobbler. Hey, Tim from Ridge Life, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. Hey, We Are Garden Gals is here too, and Gail Southern Living. Look how many people showed up while I was just yammering on, because that's what I do best. That's what Musings is. I'm going to have to put something up on my little sign behind me. So I've got my salutations up there now, and I'm going to have to put it where everybody can read it, because people say, what is salutations? I don't know what that is. But I'm going to have to do the same thing for musings, because people don't understand musings. Sometimes when if I go into somebody's live, they're like, oh, hello, country mama. Mussings? Mussing? Muse? They never say musings. I guess people just haven't heard of a muse, or just storytelling and an inspirational thing. I tell stories. I muse. So I'm going to have to get on the little sign there at one point and put on there what musing means so that people understand what I'm doing. You know, I did say, Tim, I did put in the chat last night, I said, do you know anybody? Do you know someplace where you can get some honey? Because I think some honey would really help with that little bit of coffee you had last night, and you didn't see it. But some people were like, ha ha, country mama. But yeah, I think you should have had some honey. I don't know where you can get some. Yeah, everybody, thank you so much for being nice to Donna. She's new here. Boots and Bounties putting up some peach videos. I have, because of everything I did yesterday, I have peach lemonade. And I was going to do a peach lemonade video. But Michael over at Green Acres just dropped a peach lemonade video. Now we have to know who has the better pucker factor, me or Michael. What do you say, Michael, at the Green Acre? Is your pucker better than mine? Oh, Lord. Somebody save me from myself. So today, when we're done with the live, I'm going to go finish the rest of those peaches to get them in the freezer before they go bad. When my granddaughter was here yesterday, we also we made soup for Papa Jim. He wanted some soup with some zucchini. So we had green beans out of our garden, some celery leaves out of our garden. We had tomatoes out of our garden. We had a beautiful onion out of our neighbor's garden and a zucchini out of my husband's coworker's garden. We threw in some carrots that I had in the fridge, my homemade veggie stock from last year. Whenever I cut an onion or cut a bell pepper or a tomato, any waste that doesn't go to the chickens, before anything goes to chickens, it goes into a gallon-sized freezer bag. And I think I got 2 or 3 of them now. And I keep all of my kitchen scraps for veggies in there in the freezer. Then I pop them over into my Instant Pot and I cook them down to make a beautiful veggie broth. And then I can it. So we used 2 jars of my canned veggie broth in our soup last night. And then also some Fiesta beans. And I learned how to make Fiesta beans from over at Sutton's Days. That's a really neat channel, Sutton's Days. And she does Fiesta beans. And so I poured some Fiesta beans in there. And then we had corn that my son brought over, locally grown organic sweet corn. So we shucked the corn and we broke it into little niblets, just little cobettes about this big, and we threw it in the soup. It was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So she helped me with that. Gail has zucchini and tomatoes everywhere. A pucker off would be fun to watch. Who would be the judge? Oh, look at the direction we can go with that. My goodness. Michael's peach tree is having a bumper crop. I had to tie up the branches because they're so heavy. So peaches, there's another story. See how all these things always lead to a story. And this one's on my blog as well. And any story that I share out of my blog, I'll try to put into the comments below after this live is done. And if you ever want to come back and actually read the story how I had it written out, it's always there if I can find them and throw them in. So my neighbor, when we lived in Southern California, her peach tree was having a bumper crop year. And she said, hey, I've got bags and bags and bags of peaches. Come over and get whatever you want. So I did. And these were the white clean peaches. So they're white, and then they just have that little bit of pink on the inside and a little pinky flesh on the outside, and or skin on the outside, and flesh, skin. I'm going to start getting in trouble. So I went over and I had 2 or 3 bags, like grocery bags, the paper bags that I brought home. And for some reason, I never made it past the garage. They got into the garage, and then right there at the door where you go into the house is where I had set those peaches. And I was a mother of 4 young boys, and it was just constant controlled chaos. And sometimes the chaos wasn't even controlled. So the peaches at the bottom of the bag started to go bad before I could get to them. And I kept swearing I was going to get to them, and I never did. Well, I had, at that time, I think I had a little one in elementary, and maybe 1 or 2 in junior high or middle school. And I would always be running to different schools to pick up kids, drop off kids, whatever I needed to do, lunch money, backpacks, whatever. I was always running doing something. And one day I was out getting somebody when there were a couple of kids unaccompanied at home. And I don't know what sparked it. I don't know who said what to whom. But those boys decided to have a peach fight in the garage. They started lobbing those peaches at each other, those rotten, really soft, and the flesh turns brown and it's stringy. They started lobbing those peaches at each other. And at some point, I don't know what happened. At some point, somebody decided to surrender and run into the house. But their assailant didn't realize that the fight was done. And the peaches went into the house. And they continued to have a peach fight in the house with these rotten peaches that I was going to can. And I don't know how long they'd been fighting inside the house, but they must have heard the garage door open, because when I got out of the car and opened the door to go in the house, the blinds, remember those long blinds that you would put in a sliding glass door? And they would, they would always do this when you would open and close the blinds, and then they would always fall out, and they were such a pain in the butt. The blinds were swinging. So as I came in one door, the boys ran out the other door. And there were peaches everywhere. And I'm not kidding when I say there were peaches like hanging from the ceiling fan. There were peaches on the windows. There were peaches on the floor, on the walls, everything. There were peaches everywhere. Those boys knew. Yeah, the slat blinds. Those boys knew that they were going to get the beating of their lives if I got a hold of it. I don't know how long. They must have gone out the door, around the pool, over the fence, and into the neighborhood they went, and they were gone for quite some time while I had to clean that mess up. And so cleaned up what I could. And when we sold our house and moved, I noticed that in the garage behind the door, there was still a splat of peach on the drywall, because the garage was a finished garage. And it was just there. And I thought, I'm just going to leave it. You know how people sell their houses and in the closet or in a doorway, they've got the little marks for their kids' heights? I just left a rotten peach. So I've missed what's going on with Tim at Ridge Life. Tim, are you really not feeling well? I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. I thought it was just your allergies. Are you not doing good? Mountain Grandma's leaving for a meeting. Ooh, a peach recipe challenge. Oh, do you guys know what I made last year? If you haven't done this, try this if you've got a buttload of peaches. I made spiced peach jam. I made regular peach jam, but then I made spiced peach jam. It is so yummy on an English muffin in the morning. So good. Brenda Baker has to run. Oh, do we have Southern Sandy in here? Hey, Southern Sandy, how are you? Oh, somebody has a coworker with the illness of the century. I hope everybody stays safe. Oh, Casey has a syrup recipe. Did she share that and I missed that? Hello, Southern Sandy. Everybody's got some great. I have a bumper crop on our peach tree, or no, our pear tree out by the chickens. We have one pear. Just one. It's just hanging there. It'll fall, and some lucky chicken's going to be the winner. So if you're not subscribed to some of these other channels, make sure you hop over, subscribe, tell them Country Mama sent you. And everybody's got great recipes, great stuff, great gardening advice, homesteading advice, blah, 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 blah. All kinds of good stuff. So I'm just gonna let the chickens have the one pair. Another thing that I did with my granddaughter yesterday is I had 5 piles of pickling cucumbers. I just haven't gotten to them yet to make more pickles because I have sweet pickles. I have bread and butter pickles. I've done some dill pickle slices, and I've got more to make. And I've just been so busy, I haven't gotten to all of my pickles yet, or all of my cucumbers. So we sorted through the 5 piles to determine which cucumbers were viable for me to make something with and which ones were going to go to the chickens. So we got our piles separated. And what I did with my granddaughter yesterday, it was so much fun, is I had on my iPad, I had one of those little spinning wheels like Garden State Gardener uses for his seed giveaway. And I put all of the little tasks that needed to be done on the farm that day, and I would let her spin, and whatever it showed up as is what we would do. So the first thing we came up with was sorting the cucumbers. So we sorted the cucumbers. I have so many cucumbers to do something with. And then today I went out this morning before we had that great prison break where that guinea almost shanked me. I got 3 more gallons of pickles to deal with. So I'm going to be making some more pickles this week. But what wasn't viable, we took out into that new chicken yard, that 2,000 square foot chicken yard where the turkeys and a couple of guineas and all of the chickens and a potbelly pig live. And she decided to do like an Easter egg hunt with cucumbers. And it was so fun because she would put a cucumber on their swing and she'd turn around and go put one somewhere else, and she'd turn around, it would be gone off the swing. So she'd go put another one on the swing. And I have an umbrella stand out there. So I put one sticking up out of the umbrella stand, and the chickens were getting it. So she just had a blast putting everything out there for a really great little Easter egg hunt with cucumbers. And so she wanted to call her grandma, her other grandma, which is Donna, that's on here in the chat. And we called and showed her all the fun things. So we did that. We made the soup. We did peaches. We made lunch. We had lemonade. We did all kinds of things. And I took her home, and my son called me a little bit after I took her home. He goes, Are you laying down taking a nap? I said, no, I'd like to take a nap. I'm exhausted, but I'm still processing these peaches. He says, man, that little girl crashed, and she crashed hard, and she's probably still asleep. She had such a good time. She was here 8 hours. We worked for 8 hours. Today, yeah, I can do zinnias today. And Michael, you're eligible. I need to get a hold. I didn't see, is Roost and Rescue in here? I need to get Roost and Rescue in here because she's moving. They're moving off of their homestead, and they're going back to New York. And I want to know, does she want her marigold seeds to go there, or does she want them to go to New York? So I haven't sent hers yet. Michael, you should be receiving yours. Eric and Monica, they got theirs down in, I believe, Texas, so you should be getting them. Ooh, bourbon peach jam. That sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Your dog is barking at the kangaroos. I love that. How many of you have a friend that says, hey, I'll be right back, the dogs are barking at the kangaroos? Daz is so awesome. So awesome. So let's do the giveaway. So the only person who's not eligible for the giveaway today is Roost and Rescue. She won last week. I've deadheaded several of my zinnias, and they're drying, so I will have zinnia seeds. Zinnia, however you want to say it. Should we wait until we make sure that Daz won't want Daz. I can't send Daz seeds, I guess, because of biohazard stuff. So he won't want them anyway. So from my video last week, gosh, my back's starting to hurt. From my video last week, who can tell me? Oh, and I didn't bring something else out here that I want to show you. Who can tell me the vintage from the 1800s? They've been in business since the 1800s. The vintage soap that my husband bought me as a gift. Who can tell me the name of that soap? Whoever wins, whoever guesses the correct name of the vintage soap that my husband gifted me with last week, because I want to go back to kind of going vintage will get a packet of zinnia seeds. So I'm going to let you guys think about that. And what else shall I talk about? I brought a few things here to the table, and I've already showed you everything. Did I have any more stories to tell? We haven't seen any skunks lately. The skunk hasn't been around, but I'm pretty sure it's just hanging out waiting for me to go back over to the corn crib and start painting again. I'm going to start painting again once I get all of this bounty taken care of. I'm going to pull it together. You know, ooh, green acre. Michael, you're good. Michael's the winner. Congrats, Michael. You're awesome. So, Michael, I will send you some zinnia seeds. That's really great. So you'll have marigolds from my farm, and you will have zinnias from my farm. And like I said before, I know anybody can go out and you can just get zinnias, and you can get marigolds, and you can get seeds anywhere you want. But for me, I decided to do this because I just kind of wanted it to be a little bit of my farm going to a little bit of your farm. And hopefully you'll be able to deadhead those and get seeds for yourself. And then that will just kind of continue on, maybe long after I'm gone. We'll see. One thing that I did yesterday when my granddaughter was here, I sent her home with 5 quart bags in a gallon bag of sliced peaches yesterday. Those went home with her. And I wrote out Casey's 1 cup cobbler recipe on it. And so I wrote on one side that these peaches were processed by my granddaughters, put her name in there. And that was the labor of her hard work. She worked with me. She snapped beans. She cut zucchini. We did all kinds of stuff, but she cut those peaches. And so she got to take all those peaches home. So on one side of a recipe card, I hand wrote that she had done that. And then on the other side, I hand wrote the recipe for the 1 cup cobbler. And I told her, I said, you hang on to this recipe card. After you use your peaches up, you hang on to this recipe card, because someday grandma's going to be gone. And you're going to say, man, I wish I had that recipe that my grandma hand wrote out for me one day. And so I told her mom and dad, I said, even if you have to snag it and put it in the safe or put it in her little memorabilia box, make sure you save that recipe. And I mean, I laid it on pretty thick with her. I really did. But my grandma, who I was the closest with, I had one grandma that was just a very fragile, innocent, timid little grandma. And then I had another grandma that let you know that she would beat you within an inch of your life if you looked at her crooked. But so I was closer, obviously, to the sweet grandma. And that grandma never did write me handwritten recipes. My grandpa did most of the cooking because my grandma was so frail. But I would have loved to have had some handwritten recipes from my grandma. I would appreciate it now at this age. Probably wouldn't have appreciated it when I was, teens and 20s and maybe even in my early 30s. But I would have appreciated it now. Oh, yeah, Tim, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, man. I'll stop answering for a handful of lives going forward. I've won twice now and would love others to have a chance. But there's going to be so much to go around. Others will get a chance. Absolutely. So I really want her to have that recipe card and have that long after I'm gone. So will I be here tomorrow? Will I be here next week? Will I be here in 20 years? Nobody knows. But I do want to pass on the little recipe cards to my grandkids, and I want to pass on seeds from my garden, because right now that's really all I have to give you. Stories and the occasional seeds. Trying to handwrite stuff for your kids and your grandkids one day. It's special because you have your grandmas. That is so neat, Casey. That is so great. I do have things that are handwritten from my mother, but I don't have anything handwritten from my grandmother. And I do have some handwritten things from my other grandmother, this grandmother. But I had learned in 2009 that she's not biologically my grandmother. My dad who raised me was not my biological father, and I didn't find out till about 10 minutes before he passed away. And so when I was going through some of my paperwork this last spring, when I was going through my cedar chest, I found some handwritten things about the family lineage of my grandmother. And so I set those aside to give to my sister because my sister is of that lineage. And I think that it's more appropriate that she have those. And just so that you guys understand why I find it to be so appropriate that she have it and not me, is my grandmother was a Mather. Has anybody ever heard of the surname Mather? Do you know anything about the Mathers? Oh, it was a lot to process. It is quite the story. Has anybody heard of the Mathers? Cotton Mather, Richard Mather, Stephen Tyne Mather, tons and tons of Mathers. If you were to visit the state capital, which I'm sure none of us could even get into right now, not the state capital, our nation's capital. If you were to visit our capital in Washington, D.C., when you go into is it the rotunda where the big dome is at the White House there at the Capitol, and you look up, there are portraits of people of different founding fathers up at the top. And up at the top is Richard Mather, who was the father of religion for our country. Richard Mather and Cotton Mather were also founding fathers of Harvard University. When I was growing up, I was always told that when I graduated high school, I had a full ticket to Harvard. All I had to do was have the desire to go, and obviously a GPA to get in. So I used to do all of my essays in junior high school and high school on the Mather family, because this is who I was. And if you were to go to the southern rim of the Grand Canyon, there is a boulder there with a brass placard for Stephen Tyne Mather, who is the father of the National Park System. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt gets the credit for a lot of things, but if you go there, Stephen Tyne Mather, he's the father of the National Park System. So I really held on to that for a long time, even though I knew growing up that my dad probably really wasn't my dad once I figured out how to do math. And I realized I was a very healthy, 7.5 pounds, 6-month-old fetus. That's not my heritage anymore. It's not my history. And I know my grandmother was so mad because I left school early and got married and had babies and didn't go to Harvard. And that was a free education. And looking back now, and don't get me wrong, I love Papa Jim. It was the best decision I ever made, to run away with him. And we had our family. But looking back now, it's like, oh my gosh, how much would a Harvard education have cost that I just hello, goodbye. And I'm running away with Jim, and we eloped in the middle of the night. I ran away. I could see why my grandmother was mad because that was a pretty good education that was laying there at my feet. And I said, no, I like this little cowboy better. And I'm going to run off with this cowboy and make babies. So that's who the Mathers are. So I'm technically not a Mather. My dad was not my dad. My dad was not my biological father. So I can't claim that lineage, even though his name is on my birth certificate. I probably could. And it's not that I don't want to, but all of that paperwork that I found of my grandmother's, I feel it's better to give it to my sister because that is her true lineage and it is her children's true lineage. And I'm going to let that go that way. So all the handwritten things from that grandma will go that way, but I don't have anything handwritten from my other grandma. I'm just trying to get caught up a little bit. Coffee Angel Crafts, you crocheted an Afghan for each of your grandkids and a layette set when they were born. I crocheted a blanket for my very first baby before he was born, and I crocheted blankets for each baby after. And it was so neat. For my third boy, I made this beautiful Afghan. They're hexagons. I don't know how many hexagons they were, but they were a bunch of little hexagons, and inside each hexagon was a crocheted teddy bear. And it looked like a honeycomb put together, honeycomb pattern when I sewed them all together. And each little teddy bear, I had 3 different color teddy bears in shades of browns. And each one had a little tie that I crocheted and sewed on there. And it was so neat that at that child's baby shower for his firstborn child, I was able to present that blanket to the mother and say, this is your husband's baby blanket, and now it's your baby's baby blanket. Really loved doing that. So one of the neatest things I did, Coffee Angel Craft, Laura, Coffee Angel Craft. See, my brain's not working today. I made one for my son this year. I made a temperature blanket for my firstborn son. And it's not your traditional temperature blanket that just has the rose. I made a granny square for every day of the year for the year he was born, based on the temperature of where we lived during his first year. I got all of the information from the Farmer's Almanac, went back to that year, started on the day he was born, found out the high temperature, which was round 1, then the low temperature, which was round 2, and then I did just a connecting color, which was gray. And I did every single day for the entire year of the highs and lows of the temperatures. And then I ordered special handmade little buttons, and the buttons have the month and the year on them. And so like for the first day of March of 19 whatever, I sewed it to that particular square. So I have one for the day of his birth that I put on, and then the beginning of each month all the way down. And it's this huge blanket. And I gave it to him for his birthday last year. And then I also made up a calendar with every single day on it. And it shows the highs and lows for that day. And so I have a calendar and what everything means, and the color chart, what every color represents. You know, the darkest red was 100 degrees and above, and below, you know, the next one was a rust color and it was 90 to 100 degrees. I just did all of those. It was a lot of fun. Oh, you're back, Daz. That did take a while. You were out there for quite a while. We are garden gals. It's fun getting out old recipes from my grandmother for Hopeland. It would be her great grandmother, and to tell her stories about her. She was a great cook, Penna Dutch style cooking. Isn't that so neat? I love that. I love that. I don't have those. I don't have those, and I want to have those for my granddaughters. I will tell you something that I did for my very firstborn granddaughter. For those of you who have daughters coming up or granddaughters coming up, this was the neatest thing. Sometimes I get so distracted and I don't follow through with things, but I did with this one. It was really neat. My firstborn granddaughter, and because Donna's in here, she needs to know I've done this for our shared granddaughter as well. For my firstborn granddaughter, the day she was born, I went out and I bought a copy of 17 magazine. And I saved it in my hope chest all the years that she was growing up. And then on her 17th birthday, I gave her that copy of 17 magazine so she could go back through the magazine and see what hairstyles were popular the day she was born, what fashion was popular, who, you know, what was trending in Hollywood, all those fun things. And she can go back and just kind of look through it all. And I gave it to her on her 17th birthday. That was a lot of fun. Lynette. What did I say? I said Laura. Laura is somebody else. My brain. So that is a really neat thing to do if you want to have something to pass on or give to a special birthday or something. I always like the idea of opening up an email account for your grandchild and then sending them little messages, and then when they turn 18, giving them the password to that email so they can go back and read everything you read. I keep meaning to do it, and I haven't done it. Someday I will. I don't know. But I am putting a video out later today for those of you who saw the mandala rock that I painted. And I believe Rambling with the Brums. Do we have Rambling with the Brums in here? Brums. Do we have Scott in here today? When I was showing everybody how I did the little ladybug that I painted on a rock, the little ladybug mandala. And I think it was Scott from Rambling with the Brooms said that he wanted the next one to be orange colors. So, but the blue one, I have just edited the tutorial on how to paint that. So I'll be putting that up later today. I've put some shorts up earlier in the week, so be sure to check those out. Don't know why somebody gave me a thumbs down on my coop one. Who would put a thumbs down on the chicken coop that has just been adorned with beautiful little marigolds? I don't know. Donna has seen the blanket that I made for my son. She says she likes that. Lots of kangaroos. Daz, how many kangaroos did you have in the yard today? Inquiring minds want to know. She hears them crashing through the bush. I could hear them too when I was shining the torch around. And how do you say, see, I can't even think of the word. I can't even think of the word. Oh my goodness. So when I'm done here today, I will be finishing the peaches. My sister's going to be showing up. I've got tons and tons of snap beans to get into the freezer. I'm not going to can them. I already canned some. Ooh, there they are down there. See all those? I got those cans of beans that I did. I got to get those into the pantry. Also, what you can't see, and something that I wanted to talk about, because, and I'm not getting political, but we know things have gone from different degrees of crazy, and this week things have just gone off the charts. I have my pantry. I've got my kind of like a prepper pantry and my working pantry, and I've had some people say, "Ooh, I'd really love to see your pantry." I'm not going to show off my pantry. I got tons and tons of stuff in there. I've just got tons and tons of stuff, and I've been putting things away for quite some time now. And so I'm not going to show everybody my pantry, but I do want to share with you what I did this week. Is I did go down to the big box store out of town, and I spent, I don't know, $200 or $300 on just random kitchen necessities. And I'm not talking food. I got some 5-gallon buckets. We have the gamma lids that just screw on so you can get to things easily. But what I got was, I got just like kitchen preparedness materials in case something happens here at the farm. So here on the farm, we have a well. So we have well water. We're not dependent on anybody for water, but that well water, we can't get it if there's no electricity because it won't run the well pump. So if things go sideways out here in a rural area for whatever reason, whether it's a blizzard or the electricity goes out or heaven forbid something happen, I have to have access to that water. And if I don't want to be dirtying up my dishes and then trying to figure out what to do with those. So I purchased large quantities of paper plates, disposable flatware, disposable cups, napkins, the baking sheets for me to bake my bread out in my solar oven. What else did I get? I already have tons of aluminum foil, so I didn't have to buy that. But extra can openers, extra things to put into these little buckets so that in my pantry, if we lose power and we need to have something to eat off of, I got bowls. So I got everything so that I can just make little individual kitchen preparedness packs so that I can just grab a bucket and I know that I've got disposable stuff in there that I can utilize for preparing meals and eating meals out in the summer kitchen should we not have electricity. So if you have already got your prepper pantries pretty much stocked up with foods, which you can always rotate out, you can always add more, you're never going to have enough. But don't forget those things. Don't forget the paper plates and stuff in case you don't have water. You don't want to get into a situation where you're using your filtered water that you need to drink and survive to try to clean your dishes. I'd much rather go through, $10 worth of paper plates in a couple of weeks and throw them in the burn pile than try to use that water that I need to try to clean them or have dirty dishes. So a fat-fingered person, they meant to hit the thumbs up. You think that's why I got a thumbs down? I hope that's it, because I've done plenty of things that probably really deserve a thumbs down, but really pretty little nesting boxes with marigolds and lemon balm. Why would somebody give me a thumb down on that? I don't know. So those are the packs that I'm putting up this week. So I would encourage you, if your pantries are doing, Daz knows, Daz, where he's at, they've been on lockdown. I don't know. Daz, are you still on lockdown down there? They were just encouraged to stay home. I think you were only allowed to go out shopping during certain times. It's just better to have everything at the house and not go out in situations like that and have everything that you need. So that's what I focused on this week. I also like to kind of watch the circulars for the stores around here. And if I see something going on sale for a really good price, I'll go buy a dozen of it. So I have access to plenty of corn. I do. I'm living right now surrounded by corn, even though a lot of it's not edible. We have tons of sweet corn out here. But if I see that a store is having a certain brand, of corn on sale for, 2 for $1 or 3 for $1, I'll get a dozen or two and I'll pop them in the pantry. Because why not? Why not have them? Beans, potatoes. We have a pretty large store to the south of us where I do a lot of my shopping. And I think I shared with you on here before that they had a whole aisle. They have big, long aisles, and more than half, maybe 3/4 of their aisle was nothing but veggies, canned veggies. And I went back last month and they've reconfigured the store. And they only have like an 8-foot section, maybe 6-foot for veggies now. That's it. And you don't have hardly any choice anymore. You used to have tons of choices of what you wanted to get. Well, one of the things that I had on my list to repurpose or to restock my pantry was I wanted some diced potatoes because we like to cook up diced potatoes if we're going to do a breakfast burrito or something. And so I need to get a dozen diced potatoes to put back in my working pantry. And yes, I love fresh potatoes, but sometimes if you haven't left the house for a week and all you've got is canned potatoes, you throw those canned potatoes in the skillet and you cook them up and season them up and you make beautiful, beautiful breakfast burritos. And it's like, where are all the potatoes? Where are all of the diced potatoes? Down at the bottom, the very bottom shelf, there were only 3 slots for potatoes. Whole potatoes, sliced potatoes, and something random that was not anything remotely close to what I wanted. It used to be that there would be tons of options for buying potatoes from all kinds of different companies. Del Monte and whatever, and this one and this generic and that store brand. Not anymore. It took up this much on one little shelf. And so I just didn't even buy them and go somewhere else so I can find my diced potatoes. Things are getting slim in really weird ways, and they're reconfiguring stores and making the aisles a little wider so that you don't notice that maybe you're missing a whole aisle now and they're stretching things out. So Lynette says, my husband didn't understand food storage idea until grocery store was empty here. He understands now and coming up with some good ideas of his own. Yes. Daz says the city people are locked down, but you're free in the country again. That's good. That's good, Daz. One thing I liked about my pantry is so stocked now that when I made that soup with my granddaughter yesterday, and here I've just got this kind of random veggie soup, but how can I dress it up? I went in there, I had tortilla strips, because if they have like the salad topping tortilla strips and the croutons when they have those on sale, and sure I can, and I do, I make my own little breadcrumbs and croutons and stuff when my bread gets old. But if they've got it on sale and they're in those bags and I could put a few of those bags away, I get them. I had the little tortilla strips. I had some leftover cilantro from some salsa that I made last week. And I dressed up that bowl of soup and it was so good. And hubby loved it. I loved it that I've got my own little grocery store. Donna's seen it. She's seen how she's seen my overloaded pantry, which I've cleaned up since she was here visiting. Hedgehogs cans her own potatoes, that's wonderful. I didn't do potatoes this year. We grew potatoes last year. It was our first time ever growing potatoes. And we had, I think I only did 5-gallon buckets. I did reds and Yukon Golds. We just did 5-gallon buckets. We got a nice little bunch of potatoes. And so I used my Instant Pot. I made mashed potatoes, and then I froze the mashed potatoes in little discs, individual discs that I put in the freezer, froze them, and then I put them in a bag. And now, since it's just my hubby and I, if we want mashed potatoes, I can just grab 1 or 2 of those discs, thaw them out, heat them up, add a little butter and milk and stuff, and kind of reconstitute them. And we have those. And that seems to have worked out really, really well. I haven't canned potatoes because I've seen so many potatoes look mushy that I haven't done that yet. Michael says the best part of living in the Midwest, sweet corn stands everywhere. Yes, and it is the best. Had some with dinner last night, so juicy and sweet. Michael, we have a thing here in the next community over, and it's called Corn Days. It's Dow's Corn Days. And you get in for $5. They they cordon off the entire downtown park. And it's a tiny little community. There might only be, 500 or 600 people that live there, and that's being generous. and they cordon off the whole thing, and they just have a party all day long. You get in for $5 and you get a little button, and it's always got a new slogan every year. You get your little button, and it's unlimited sweet corn. You can eat all the sweet corn you can handle. They have trucks lined up that are steaming this, or boiling. Big vats go down in the boiling water. They pull it up, then they put it in the ice chests. And then there's all these little places where you can just go around, and they just give you a whole ear of corn, and they have big buckets of melted butter. They dip it in and hand it to you, and then you can salt and pepper it. All the corn you can eat all day long. And you get in for $5. Then on the other side of the park, they have trucks that are just full of watermelon, and they have guys out there with machetes, and they're just hacking off pieces of watermelon and handing out watermelon, all the watermelon you can eat. Then over by the grandstand, they have the local banks are set up with ice cream, all the ice cream you can eat. So it's all the corn, all the watermelon, all the ice cream you can eat for $5. But wait, there's more. They have all of the inflatables and the water toys all set up for all the kids to play all day. They have vendors set up that you can buy little things. And then they have big wheel races. Who remembers big wheels? Did you have a big wheel when you were a kid? I loved riding big wheels when I was a kid. They have one street where they line up all the kids who want to participate, and they set them on a big wheel, and they have big wheel races for the kids. And whoever is the ultimate big wheel race winner, say it 5 times fast, they win a big wheel, and they get to take one home. And I think they have a big wheel winner for the boys and one for the girls. And so they get to win the big wheels. That is so much fun. Oh, it is a great day. We didn't go this week this year because it was going to rain that day. And we said, we're just going to stay home. But I love going there. And the sweet corn is so good. And then on stage, they have entertainment. And it's always different every year. They've got this little outdoor palladium. And all these things I tell you, it makes you sound like this must be some huge event. It's not. It's like just a little town block is all it is. And the first year I went, they had Civil War era dancers. So the girls were in their Civil War era clothing, but not the fancy, not Southern Belles. They weren't fancy. Oh my gosh, you know what I just realized? I got it. Okay. No, I'm good. I thought those guineas, when they attacked me, I thought they ripped my clothing, but something else must have attacked me because I have a hole in my skirt. But the boys were dressed, in their little Civil War era clothes, and they had the gloves, and they would curtsy and bow and do their Virginia reel square dances. And it was just so wonderful to watch. And sometimes they have Deal or No Deal, or they have all kinds of games. It's just a lot of fun. And the churches come out and they sell pie, and you can get a piece of pie. And then the Lions Club shows up, and under the tree, this big, huge oak tree, they set tables up, and you could play bingo for $0.25. And that's where you'll find me. I will stuff my face with corn. I will have a couple pieces of watermelon. I'll go over and have an ice cream. But then I'm going to be over playing quarter bingo. And you want to see me get excited, wait till I hit bingo and I yell bingo, because, I almost flipped the table because I get so excited. Oh no, Boots and Bounty is a frog attack survivor. The corn kernel. It is a great day out. It is so wonderful. It's really one of the wonderful things I love about living in this part of the state where we live. Every single little community has a day during the summer months where they have a festival. And they have a little parade. They have their little things going on. Usually there's cribbage tournaments, and I love to go play at the cribbage tournaments. There's a community to the south of us called Ackley, and they have sauerkraut days. So this one place has corn days. The other place has sauerkraut days. And it's because that's where the largest manufacturer of sauerkraut, like back in the 30s and 40s when they would can it and send it out across the nation, that's where that was done. And the factory has long since closed down, but they're pretty proud of their heritage. So they have sauerkraut days. And I just love going to all of these little places. There's a place nearby where they have sandbagger days. And I thought, sandbagger days, for me, what I know of sandbaggers Sandbaggers are somebody that, like if you play a game of pool with them and they act like they can't play pool very well, and then they sucker you into betting more money, and then all of a sudden you find out they're a pro, they sandbagged. That was my understanding of and I thought, man, why are they celebrating sandbaggers? People that really rip you off. And they play like the cornhole games where you have the little sandbags and you throw them, horseshoe style, and you've got the little board that has the holes in it, and you keep points that way. They have a big sandbag tournament. Everybody has fun things. There's a community to the north of us, and it's hobo days. No kidding. Everything is about hobos. And I don't know if it's because I have to do the research on it. Back in the day, is it because did they have a train line that went through there, and did they have a hobo community? I don't know. But it sounds like fun, and everybody dresses up, and they dress down. I guess they would dress down, and there's like a little Miss Hobo and a little Mr. Hobo, and they do everything hobo. And I think they do special recipes for like bean soups, like hobo soups and stuff. Oh, I want to go there. It sounds like it's so much fun. But everybody has something different and unique that they do. So you are right, Michael. Living in the Midwest is just really a really unique and special experience. I am so happy to live here. I have enough food stored up for my whole family. My husband said when I first started stocking these cabinets that I've got, we've got the big commercial kitchen grade, restaurant style, big rolling stackable carts, the big metal ones that hold like 600 pounds. And so when I first started stocking that full of food, my husband said, do you really need 25 jars of peanut butter? Really? Do you really think we're going to go through 25 jars of peanut butter? We're not. But if things go sideways, our grandbabies have peanut butter, because if we're eating something to survive, it might not be something that's palatable to them, and we can at least give them peanut butter and get the protein in them. So the peanut butter is for the kids. And if I open a jar of peanut butter for us, I just rotate it out and I'll get another one to replace it. So I've always got peanut butter for my kids, my grandbabies. But I just stock it full of whatever I can find and I throw it in there. But yeah, this is a really neat place to live. And I really do love it here, and so many really unique communities to go. I got a girl, guys. It was lovely. Oh, you have to go. You got to go. It was lovely hanging out. Thank you, Hedgehog. Boots and Bounty would love to live near a town like that. We can't have anything around here where I live because everybody just tears stuff up or too scared of getting shot. Oh, my goodness. I remember so little stuff like that as a kid. Too bad my kids will never have that. That really is too bad that the generations coming up won't have that. I will tell you, Casey, when we first moved here, the first time I went to a little place up here, one of the little days that one of the little communities had, and hairball. I think in the community where I went to this little event that they had, there are 268 people that live in this little town. And we had moved to this little town before we bought this farm. So I went out and saw the parade, which was all of, 3 minutes. And they were having a raffle for bicycles. I think they were giving away 4 bicycles to the little kids in the community. 2 for boys, 2 for girls, little bike, bigger bike. And everybody had been playing in the fire hydrants or the sprinklers and having ice cream and having a lot of fun, but it was time for the drawing. And I'm sitting there. I had taken some crochet with me so I could have a little vendor table set up in case I was making little cupcake purses, and little girls were buying little cupcake purses and stuff. And it was time for the drawing. And they said, okay, everybody, let's go into the community center. We're going to have the drawing for the bikes. I'd only been living there 3, 4, 5 months. And I came from a community in Southern California where if you turn your back on your grandma's going to be snatched up and gone, let alone your bike. You don't trust anything. It's just gone. And I remember sitting there, and everybody, every child, every adult, every vendor, every person that was there that day all went into the community center for the drawing. I was the only one that stayed outside, and I would have loved to have seen the drawing because I think my grandchildren were entered in it. But I didn't want to leave the bikes. Nobody watched the bikes. They all just left the bikes sitting in the grass in the park. They all just walked away. I was in amazement. And I thought, how long is it till somebody steals those bikes? Because where I lived before, they wouldn't have been there 10 seconds before somebody snatched those bikes up and stole them. And I was just in awe as I sat there for a half an hour and watched those bikes and I'm not saying right on top of those bikes, watching those bikes. I was 50, 60 feet away. Nobody bothered those bikes. Nobody stole them. And it's like, wow, that is the craziest thing in the world. People steal stuff. It's crazy. We're starting to get an element where we're starting to see some theft in town. And that breaks my heart because people here are good people. And we're starting to see an outer influx come in and things are starting to get stolen. And as a matter of fact, a little girl who had visited my farm about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, there was a little girl that visited my farm, fed the goats, fed the donkeys, collected the eggs. She just had a wonderful time. Last month, she was killed in a car accident. And somebody broke into her mother's storage shed and stole all of her daughter's stuff. And she put a post up yesterday with tears, the emoticons, with tears. Please, I just want my daughter's stuff back. I thought how sad it is that somebody would break into her stuff and take her daughter's memorabilia after her daughter has, of course, they don't know. They don't know that that's what they've got, but she's asking for it to come back. It is terribly sad, terribly sad. So things are starting to get a little iffy, but I know for me, for the whole time we've lived here, if I go into town, I can leave my car running and leave the keys in it and go do my shopping. And when I come out, my car will still be there. I can leave my purse in the front seat. It'll still be there. You don't have to lock your doors, but things might start changing. I don't know. I remember when I used to visit family out here before we moved out here, I would go to my brother's house and I would hit the key fob and lock the car and then go inside. And my niece would, pull my sister-in-law and say, she'd go, Mommy, why does Auntie lock her car? It was a concept that was completely alien to them. They are not used to locking things up. So your trashmen steal stuff? You caught them walking around my yard, looking at my garden, checking out the chickens. Oh my gosh. That's horrible. Packing your bags, heading our way. I tell you, it took me 28 years to get Papa Jim to move me back out here. We lived out here before. It took 28 years to get him to bring me back. I'm so grateful we live here. I love living here. I just love living here. I just love the people. I love the community. I don't know if Denise is still in here. Denise is my neighbor, but she's, 5, 6, 7 miles away. But I know if she knows. I've told her several times, if you need me, I'm only a few hours away. I'll come over. And I know that the same would be if I put that out to her. If I told her I'm hurt or I'm sick and I need you because nobody's here to help me, she'd send her husband over. I know she would. Michael says, sad world we live in. In many ways, it's one of the reasons I love this YouTube community we form so much. Y'all are truly great people. Isn't that the truth, Michael? It is. We have a wonderful, wonderful YouTube community. I may never even meet a small portion of you, but I know everybody here's got wonderful hearts, really great people. Really great people. Someday maybe Daz will come to the States. I know I won't be able to go over to Australia with my health issues. I won't be able to handle that kind of flight, but maybe he'll come over and there's the welcome mats always out at the farm. Boots and Bounty, I really debated getting on YouTube because people may rate us if they know what we have, if it ever gets that bad. True. That's why I won't show my whole pantry because I have had people say, oh gosh, please do a pantry. Do a pantry tour. We want to see what canned goods you have that you've put up from your garden, all this canning that you've done, the dehydrating that you've done. And I saw earlier, Denise, something about what you do with your leaves. You can put them out on a screen just to dry. If you have a dehydrator, you can put them in your dehydrator. But you just put your leaves out to dry and then you'll be able to use them for your tea. I know for a while when I was just on Facebook, I was showing a couple of small things like, look what I did. Look what I did. Look at this new freezer I got. And I'm going to stack it full of this and put that. And I had somebody write me who I've never even met. I mean, they are on my Facebook group, my page. and they live in the community, but they wrote me separate and they said, stop showing everybody what you got. Stop showing everybody that new refrigerator that you're going to fill with food, and that freezer that you're going to fill with food, and that brand new, washer and dryer or whatever. Whatever Papa Jim was spoiling me with, I was like, look what I got. And he says, stop doing that. Because someday somebody's going to come to your farm, because our community is small enough. They're going to know where you are. And you're going to come home and all your stuff's going to be gone, because there's going to be that one element of somebody that does that to you. So you got to be careful. So that kind of segues into this next little thing for the 8 of you that are still here. I got a P.O. box. So I've had a couple of you send things to me. Like there was one time I won something, and Yogi Hollow Farms wanted to send me a sticker, and they were like, I need your address. And I was like, I know you well enough through YouTube that I'm going to go ahead and give you my address. But there may be times that I don't feel that comfortable. Not so much in this community, but if I win something and something else. So I went and got a P.O. box. So I kind of feel like maybe that's a little bit of a success on YouTube. That I've gotten to the point where I feel that I needed a P.O. box. Yes, Daz could do a tour across all of the homesteads. Ooh, a 3-month road trip. That would be fun. You're always welcome here, Daz. It is that extra peace of mind. And I kind of also like it too, because like if somebody wants to, I'm kind of looking forward to the day where maybe something will just show up in my mailbox for a, not necessarily a product endorsement, but maybe kind of something like that. Like there's one lady that I watch who watches Homestead Tessie. I really enjoy Homestead Tessie. Somebody sent her, she was redoing her deck, and somebody sent her some solar lights. Some company said, here are some solar lights. We just asked that you just kind of, when you do your next video, you talk about them a little bit. And she's got solar lights for her deck. It'd be kind of cool if I just go to the mailbox someday and there's something there. And I can go on to a video and go, look what came in the mail. If you'd like this, and I'll do my whole Vanna thing. Da-na-na-na. And then I can and then I have to click the little box that I got some kind of little promotional thing. I don't know. Debated getting a P.O. box, but don't get anything mailed to us, and we don't mail much out. I don't mail much out yet, but I've started mailing my seeds, and it's nice that I can put my little P.O. box on the return envelope for the seeds that I'm mailing out. And I don't know. It'll just be nice to just stop off at the little post office where I've got my mail going to and get my mail there. And if there's nothing there for weeks on end, there's nothing there for weeks on end, but at least I have it. Or if I want to order something that I want it to be a little more secured than just being left on a rural route, mailbox out there. It's funny because I love our postal carriers. They're great. And my FedEx man and my UPS man and everything. But you never know where a package is going to end up. It is the perpetual Easter egg hunt here at the farm. Hubby will come home. He'll say, did I get a package today? And I'm like, I don't know. Did you get a package today? It's not in the mailbox. And so if it's not in the summer kitchen, then we have to check the workshop, and then we have to check the vehicles. And eventually we'll find it, as long as they don't put it on the porch, because then the dog eats it. And then we've got to go look out in the weeds and see if we can find it. That's neat, Michael. You're welcome. We are garden gals. So yeah, maybe someday somebody will send me something. It'll be like, surprise, I got something in the mail. It is the small things in life that make you happy, right? It does not take much to make me happy. I remember when my mother-in-law took Jim and I on a little trip to San Francisco. We were going to go have lunch in San Francisco and see the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time and go down to the pier. And I was so excited that we got to go to San Francisco because I didn't get to travel much as a kid. So the three of us loaded up in the car and we went over to San Francisco, and I was just like in awe of everything. There were so many neat things to see. And on the pier, there is a merry-go-round. There was a merry-go-round. I don't know if it's still there. But this couple, and I was still in my 20s. I was in my early 20s. This couple came up to me out of all of those people that were there that day. They came up to me and they said, "Would you mind taking our picture?" And they handed me this really expensive camera. "Would you mind taking our picture on the merry-go-round?" And I was like, wow. And I looked at my mother-in-law. I was like, "Can you believe this?" And she's like, "What is wrong with you?" It's like, out of all these people here, they looked at me and they said, "She looks trustworthy." Now I was thinner then. So it's not like they looked at me and said, "That one's fat, she can't get away." I was thin. I could have gotten away if I wanted to. But they looked at me and they said, "She's a trustworthy person." And they handed me this very expensive camera and said, "This is where you push. Just take a bunch of pictures." And I just lit up like a Christmas tree. I was so happy. I was happy for hours. I'm still happy, and it's been 30 years. And I remember just being so giddy about it. My mother-in-law was just like, "I don't understand. What are you so happy about?" And it's like, because somebody saw good in me. Somebody saw that. They recognized it. They approached me. They entrusted me with this valuable, valuable piece of property. And I'm easily pleased. I mean, it doesn't take much to make me. I mean, my cheeks are hurting because I'm still smiling about it so much. I'm glad you're looking forward to getting the seeds, Michael. That makes me happy. I hope they germinate well. I forget how many I put in there. I don't know, 25, 30 seeds. I just grabbed a bunch and pinched them in there. So Denise went to school in Ackley, the sauerkraut capital of the world. Crack you up because I'm so simple. I'm so happy over little things. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy over little things. I would be giddy all day long if something showed up in my mailbox. I'm happy when hubby comes home with a little package and it's got the Pears soap in it. Another package showed up, and I didn't bring it to the table to show you, but I think it showed up after my last live, and I was talking about the Pears soap and my oil of Olay, which I'm loving using the oil of Olay. It feels so good. My skin feels so good since I've started using that. Not the oil of Olay, the Pond's cold cream. Sorry. I'm loving the Pond's. But later in that day is when another package showed up, and this little vintage little bottle of oil of Olay showed up. And so Papa Jim's just spoiling me with little fun things like that. So now in the bathroom, I've got my rollers for my hair, and I've got my oil of Olay, and I have my Pond's cold cream and the Pears soap, which smells so good. And I just love going in there and doing little things like that. So, I don't know. I'm easy to please. Everybody's just talking. This is my lemonade. And I put the peach juice in it. Michael and I are going to have a pucker contest. Oh, goodness. So what have I missed? What are we talking about? What do we need to talk about next? Do we need to wrap it up? Scrolling back to see if I've missed something. Dad's talking about his kids maybe coming over. Trash man stealing things. You never know what you're going to get in this live. Just don't know. Okay, so I'm going to go back down because I just can't go that far back up. So I'm going to finish my peaches. I'm going to get my Roma tomatoes in the freezer. I spent 3 hours out there the other day just taking care of all of the runners for my green beans. I told you I got attacked by my green beans. The mark on my neck is gone now, but I had to cut all those runners. My tomatoes weren't getting any light. It was so thick. And I actually had a memory come up in my Facebook. I just gleeked because that's so tart. Who knows what gleeking is? That lemon juice is so tart. Pucker up. I did pucker up and then I gleeked, Michael, because it's so tart. I had a video come up of my garden last year, and it is nothing. I was so impressed with last year's garden. This year's garden has far surpassed last year's garden. It is so thick and overgrown. I can't walk into places. It's so overgrown. So I spent about 3 hours out there the other day, cutting a lot of runners, getting things cleaned up so I can get to my tomatoes. And I probably have 2 or 3 gallon bags now of tomatoes to put in the freezer so I can put those up. I did a follow-up to my cherry tomato and feta bake, and I did ricotta cheese. That was delicious. I did ricotta with some mozzarella and an egg, and I almost like you would do for lasagna. And I put that around all of my cherry tomatoes with olive oil and all the seasonings. Much better than the feta. You have to really be a lover of feta, I guess. And it was good. The feta was good. It was delicious. I preferred the other one better. So also, I'm going to be doing a video. Don't anybody steal my idea for this video because I'm going to do it later in the week. I made a cherry tomato salsa with a fresh onion from a friend's garden, my cherry tomatoes, some cilantro, jalapenos from my garden. And normally I use different tomatoes to make the salsa, but I made a cherry tomato salsa. So good. It was so good. I'm going to be making that again. We ate it all up. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, when you did that, did you can it? Nope. I just took all the cherry tomatoes I had at the moment. I only planted 2 bushes this year of the Sugar Rush. And so I'm getting, little handfuls every day, save up a few days and make a salsa. Delicious. Hello, little Frenchie. Welcome. Tomato salsa. It was very good. And especially since they were the little Sugar Rush tomatoes. It wasn't overly sweet, but it had that hint of sweet in it. So good. Some lime juice. Oh, good, good, good stuff. Okay, I'm starting to get cotton mouth. We're coming up on 2 hours. I'm going to let it go to the 2-hour mark, which is 3 more minutes. I don't know why. I don't know what that does for the algorithm or anything, because people are always like, they got to make it to that next milestone of 1 hour or 2 hours, or good Lord, some of you were on there for 3 or 4 hours. I want to know, because I haven't had a chance to watch it because I was so busy with my little one the other day. Casey at Boots and Bounty, how did you like the peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich? Inquiring minds want to know. Yes, I'm going to watch it. Don't give away too much because we want people to go watch it. Did you eat a mayonnaise and peanut butter sandwich? I want to know, Boots and Bounty, or if anybody saw it. Boots and Bounty has a couple of recipes coming out next week. Make sure you check those. So, Casey, did you eat mayonnaise and peanut butter sandwich? I'm waiting for the reply to come across. When I was younger and I lived out in Southern California, in that mountain community that I grew up, I used to work for this little lady cleaning her house, and she would always try to feed me peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches. I'd rather starve. I would rather starve than eat that peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwich that she tried to feed us. So somebody was talking about it the other day, and Boots and Bounty said, I'll eat that. I'll try it. They had a big, go over to Boots and Bounty's channel and check out the video where they did this weird challenge to eat some food. I don't know. Little Frenchie, you missed it a couple of lives ago. I actually ate my very first cherry tomato ever. So Casey says, not bad, but it wasn't her favorite. I don't blame you. What about a peanut butter and pickle sandwich? Did you happen to get that? Oh, did they try your, okay, don't everybody panic. Don't everybody panic. I may have to try it, but I just don't know if I'm there. One of Boots and Bounty's favorite things to eat on their farm is a wedge of cantaloupe with white gravy. I don't know if it's a sausage gravy or if it's a white gravy without sausage. I don't know. I would only eat the pepper gravy. So try Boots and Bounty. Did the other channel try that? Did they try your white gravy with cantaloupe? You guys need to go check out this video. I've only seen a portion of it. I need to get the rest of it going, but I just haven't stopped long enough to do it. Daz is a night owl. Who saw my video short of the horned owl? on the road over here the other day. Thing is huge, huge. White country gravy. I don't know if I can do a cantaloupe with white country gravy, but you're saying we need to listen to your food suggestions, so I guess I'm going to have to give that one a try. I want to know, Casey, with your white country gravy with the cantaloupe, is the cantaloupe chilled? Is this a breakfast thing you have? Is it an evening thing you have? When's, where does it fall under a breakfast food, or does it fall under an entree at dinner? I want to know. Is it just a snack? Okay, Michael, take care. You love that owl, huh? I saw that you said that you've got a couple. They're going to video them trying it next week, maybe. They aren't able to do lives. Oh, well, I'm going to try to play some catch up and watch the rest of that. I did chime in, but I didn't get to stay. And I think some of it I had to have muted. I'm not sure. There's always something. But yes, cold cantaloupe, hot gravy, and it's for breakfast. You're killing me, Casey. Do you know what Papa Jim's going to do if I put that in front of him? I'm going to have to video record that reaction. I'm going to have to try that. All right, guys, we've hit the 2-hour mark. I said that was as far as I was going to take it. Head over to Boots and Bounty. Check out some of their food things that they did this week. Go over to the Green Acre. He's been putting some up. Visit Daz. He's so awesome. I can't see everybody to tell everybody. I saw French onion soup. I saw somebody say French onion soup. You could put it on biscuits if you need to. The gravy, yeah. That one's a go here. Biscuits and gravy all day long. But the cantaloupe, maybe if I make him biscuits and gravy and put the cantaloupe on the side as a garnish and then let the gravy kind of get on the cantaloupe, maybe he'll eat it. Maybe he will eat it. All right, guys. So yeah, some people, their phones are dying. They're going to go. There we go. French onion soup, says little Frenchie. I love French onion soup. And I love that now that I know how to make my own veggie broth, I can make it vegetarian with a provolone on top, and you get your little burner out. What do you call that, Daz? That little burner. And you just singe you singe the cheese on top, and then you serve it with a little wedge of iceberg with some blue cheese dressing. I love a little that's not Waldorf. What is that? What is it when you've got the little wedge of iceberg lettuce with the blue cheese dressing, tomatoes, and bacon, which I don't eat the bacon. I have that with the French onion soup. So good. Oh, Donna loves peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches. She says they're yummy. I just can't do it, Donna. Just can't do it. I'm not going to do it. A wedge salad. There we go. All right, guys, we'll talk more food next time. We'll talk more stories next time. I'll try to have my message board in a better place next time. We'll see if I survive any future prison outbreaks with all of my prison guineas out there. They're out there making more prison shanks. I know that they're plotting something, and we'll all get caught up next week. Meanwhile, I'm going to drop a few videos. Visit the challenge. I saw somebody say challenge. Visit the channels here that we've got in our side chat. And I love you all. Thank you for joining me every Wednesday. I hope you had a nice time. So glad you're here. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Okay, guys. Love you. Have a great day. Blessings. Be safe and ever vigilant. Things are getting to that point. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Have a blessed day. I love you all.